Hello and welcome, everybody. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today and to moderate this first session, which is a discussion panel. I'm very happy to welcome my co-speakers, Ms. Astrid Berger and Mr. Stefan Horvath as well. I already saw Astrid. Hello. Nice to have you. Hello. Stefan, I already saw him in the main room, in fact. Maybe let's wait one more minute until he enters as well. Yes, hello, Stefan. Hello and welcome.
Hi, hello.
It's so good to have you two here. Unfortunately, I have some bad news at this point. Miss Nicole Thurn, who was supposed to participate also as a panel at the panel discussion. She's not available today due to sickness, but I am very confident that the three of us, Astrid and Stefan, we will manage very well. So before we start officially, I may hand over the word to you. And would you be so kind to somehow introduce yourself just in 1 minute so that we know who you are? Maybe Astrid, do you want to start?
Okay. Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you here in this event. My name is Astrid Berger. I'm working for CHC as a customer relationship manager since over 1 year. I'm working together with Stefan. I'm also a fitness and personal coach and a networker. I'm expanding my team across Europe and help people to become a successful, sporty, healthy, and also financial. And I'm happy to be here in this round and talk about the topic new work.
Very good. Thank you very much, Astrid. Maybe Stefan, are you so kind to introduce yourself as well?
Yes, thank you. My name is Stefan Horvath. We are a boutique consultancy, and what we're doing is connecting knowledge. So that means we are scouting technology projects, trying to assess them, going together with partners from the industry and from universities, and trying to understand the impact that new technologies, that new inventions, that great work can bring. And after that, we're looking for finding investors, via investor relationship for them, but not only alone. So it's just it's the coach process. It's a kind of, I would say, the marketing and the investor relations wing of a tech incubator.
Okay, wonderful. So let's kick off this discussion round. Well, in fact, all of you know that the world of work has been undergoing a fundamental and structural change for the last several years. And the expression new work is meant to refer to this transformation. However, the definition is not really clear without ambiguity. So if you look up the term in Google, you will find 100 different explanations what new work means and what it refers to. And also sometimes it seems to be a buzzword. So in your opinion, Astrid and Stefan, what does new work mean? What does it really refer to?
I think new work is not just a new desk. It's more than this. New work is the name for the new understanding of work in times of globalization and digitalization. And that means work and life, they mixed together. And in these times of digitalizations. And therefore, we are talking about work 4.0. And I think that also important action must have been done accordingly for this topic. I think that's the new work.
And for you, Stefan, how do you see that? What does it stand for?
Yes, I think you have two angles how you can look at that. One is you look at the digitalization, as mentioned, the digital environment. Yeah, we're all in. And that is the foundation that builds the framework. Within this framework, you have to adapt the processes. That means it's, let me say the word from technology, agile work style. right? So we are trying to bring agile work style in more or less traditional structures, yeah, because it will fit for digitalization allows that. And second, new work means often that people are not at the same place, that you're probably structured, as Astrid mentioned, all over the globe. And in globalization, that is one thing. So it is about people. And when it's about people, it's about culture. And when it's about culture, it's about relationship. And that is the other angle. On one hand, we have the structure, the framework. On the other, and that is what CHC is also promoting, the how to work together. Yeah. So it's about the relationship of the people. It's about the cross-cultural competencies, which is definitely needed for globalization. I think that is what new work could be, beside any of these typical definitions you will find in the internet.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So thank you for this introductory explanation on the term. I would like to somehow deep dive a little bit more. In your opinion, what differentiates the old work from the new work? So what exactly needs to change? What exactly needs to transform, in your opinion?
I think the old work versus the new work is, in general, the good news for all, I say it, old school lovers, yeah, of working, is that the new possibilities, they will not replace the old ones, they only expand them. So I think all the people who love the old school version have to be trained in this situation, because I think it's a challenge for these people, for employees, and also for companies or bosses who completely shut themselves off from this digital world and work. And therefore, there is a big need of training and workshops for these people to get a better feeling also with the words hybrid office, or digitalization, collaboration, online, also intranet, and so on. I think these are topics where the people have to be trained on it.
Stefan, how do you see that?
Let me put it in one word: leadership. The difference between old world and new world is leadership. Yeah, and that is exactly an extension of what Astrid said. You have to train them. You bring them in, and the challenge is you have different processes. Let me say, in a hierarchy structure, in a normal office, you have clear structures. The things are going from one desk to the other, and probably you have also the kitchen where you can solve some issues. In a digital, let's go back to the digitalization of processes. You don't have them always. You don't have this direct contact, and to me, it makes it very, very difficult. Yeah, to when you're coming from a hierarchy leadership style. Yeah, you have to go more into a culture that expects trust. Trust is a good word for that, right? So you have to trust the people, and you have to keep them still on track. Yeah, which is, I believe, a huge challenge. Yeah. And so leaderships today means you have to understand the processes and especially be adept in digitalization, but you also have to find a new way to influence your people and your worker. And that means also you will give them more decision power, yeah, more freedom. More freedom to work, more trust. That's it. So leadership and trust is the biggest difference, or the differentiator between old and new.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you already covered some topics now that somehow also militate in favor of new work. But whenever there is a boom on a certain topic, also critics tend to come up. When you think about new work now, in your opinion, what are the critics on new work? What actually militates against new work?
I think the critics are those who don't want to change anything. They are not open for new things. They are not open for new challenges. And I think nothing speaks against new work. It's at the moment, it's the situation, and we have to live with this. And also, I think that fixed rules have to be, or that rules have to be fixed, because as Stefan mentioned, also the freedom and the trust between the employer and employees is so important, that the freedom is not such a freedom, and it's also, how shall I say, it's with self a responsibility for the employee. And then I think it's only the way where it works perfect, if you have the trust between the employer and the employee. I think that's so important.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So Stefan, where do you see critics on new work?
After we just discussed the critics of new work, let me come back with another angle where I see critics of new work in general, because we will have to look at industry by industry and see how well suited is that to new work. Not every industry, unfortunately, is able where you can implement all the processes. First, we said before, you have to have the ability for an agile work style. Not everywhere is that possible. And then you have a strong way for digitalization. Not everywhere that is possible. And just let me think about you. Everybody of us is relying on a few structures, right? So if you go to a hospital, I don't mind if they have new work in their offices. Yeah. But for some procedures, it is extremely relevant that we still stick to processes like before. That doesn't mean you can bring in all of them. Yeah. But when it comes to critics, maybe some of the critics say new work shouldn't be everywhere. Yeah. So you should find where it's suitable or not, and wherever suitable, use it. Yeah. But for some areas, have a careful look if that wouldn't damage the harm of the output. Yeah. And it doesn't have only to be hospitals, it's also in the utility structures or so, where everything we have critical infrastructure, not everywhere there it is possible to work like this.
Okay. Thank you for this. Well, you both mentioned now something related to somehow certain preconditions that need to be there to implement new work. So, and both of you, Stefan and Astrid, you both have a lot of contacts with companies. What is your feeling? What is your estimation? How well prepared are companies, in fact, for new work? Of course, generally speaking.
Okay, at the moment, I have a lot of contact with companies, and I think many companies are already well prepared for this situation. But I also believe that the new work is a challenge for many companies, and they need support for this implementation. They need external support to go through this situation. It's a milestone, and I think it's very important openness for new things. And this is often the reason why companies have this struggle. They cannot change their mindset to a new situation, to a big change, which is at the moment.
Stefan, how do you see that with the companies that you have contact with? How well prepared are they?
I don't think the question is fair, because some of them are better prepared than others. Again, it's about digitalization. It's about the structure and the environment. But from my experience working with people, and it is, you work across, even in the same company, different offices. Some are good prepared and others are not. I had a call today with a company that has an office in Asia, one in India, and another in the US. Yeah. So first, it's difficult to find the right time zone, but if you have that, I can tell you the Asian office is well prepared. because they get told how to do it and they do it. They just follow because it's more like they implement their family structure, but they still will never go against their leadership, whatever the new work is. So there will also be this looking back and seeing how it is. If you look for the US, that is the most prepared, let me say like this, but I'm not sure if that is always the most structured, right? And if you look at the Indian office, I don't feel you will find, despite any digitalization, which is definitely there, yeah, from the culture, I don't think it is easy to implement the same culture for this company across the world, yeah. And I don't think it's only the leadership in one office who has that. It is the training, it is the structure, it is the history, whatever you learned, it is your life experience, and you bring that into the work, right? So I think that is, and then for Astrid, it's also another very interesting topic for the training, looking cross-cultural at these offices, and then see how to find a common delimiter, yeah, where you can start finding a common ground, yeah, to implement that.
Yes, very interesting. I just saw that we have a question from the side of our participants. Agli, did you want to ask something, or do you want to contribute something on this?
I just wanted to ask Astrid, you said it must come from outside, the new way, the new thinking. How do companies go to search outside? How are they going to find it?
Oh,
how much should come from inside? Thank you.
Yeah, how much comes from outside? I think a lot of the patient also should be from each person to take an action in this. And I think it's also a kind of the mindset. How a person is it? Is a person open for news or not for news? It's an optimistic person, or like an opportunity. But I also think they they mind to change their mind and to do an action in this way.
Okay, thank you for answering this question. Mario, you also wanted to contribute something or to add something.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for all your input. And I have to agree and to disagree to some points. The first thing, for me, new work is not the digitalization, etc., because technization has been there for the last 50 years, and we always have to learn new processes, new techniques, etc. So that's not the main thing that will change. And I know the next step will be metaverse and on, and we have to learn that. Yeah. The main topic is, as Stefan said, the leadership. It shouldn't be top-down leadership. It should be bottom-up leadership. Should be collegial leadership, etc. And what I see here, and we started 1 year ago in our company, the self-organization, and our teams can decide who they hire. The colleagues debate the salaries of the new people, etc. And there are two very things that struggle us. The one thing is to learn which responsibility or decisions you do not make anymore as an owner or a leadership person, so that you just build the frame. You just build a frame, and you give the people the right to take decisions, to take responsibilities, and to work with the responsibilities. But the main thing that we see here also is, it always sounds fine to say, give the people the freedom. But the very important thing is that people take this freedom and the responsibility. Yeah? That's a very big thing. They have a lot of daily work to do, daily business, and then you come and say, so now you get also the responsibility. You have the budget responsibility, the staff responsibility, you paid the salaries, etc. So it's not that everyone says, yeah, now I have the responsibilities, I will do that. So this is a learning on both sides, on the leadership side, on the staff side. And as Stefan said before, agile management. I see a lot of companies now, they said, okay, we do new work, we do agile management, and everything that means for that company is we do not set yearly goals, we do now set quarterly goals, and now we are agile. But I think that it's much more that we have to consider, as Astrid said, that the work-life balance. And I think work-life is very wrong wording, because it suggests that work and life are two separate things. But we have one life, and we have to integrate this better in future. Yeah? And this is
Mario, sorry to interrupt you. Thank you very much for your input. I just saw, looking at the time, because Stefan, I think you will have to leave.
I have to leave. I'm very sorry. Otherwise, I couldn't catch my train to Frankfurt.
Yes. So thank you very much for being part of this discussion panel anyway, and have a good trip.
It was great to be here, and I wish you a pleasant rest of the day. And actually, I would love to stay here, because it gets now really interesting, even what Mario brought up for the points. And I'm very sorry that I have to go, but so I leave it with Astrid and you, and you're a great team. I think you will go on with that and talk soon, and I will definitely look at the recording as soon as possible. Thank you so much for that.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye, Stefan.
Bye-bye.
So in fact, we only have a few more minutes left for this discussion. And so it's going to be, well, an interview very personal between you and me, Astrid. So in fact, there is a last question, which I think is very crucial on this topic, which I really would like to cover as well in this session. What are your top 3 recommendations for companies as it regards new work? So what really needs to be considered to implement and to really live new work conditions successfully?
As we told before, I think the trust between the employer and employees is so important. It's okay that they have the freedom and their self responsibility for the employees. So the new work, they have the possibility to work at home or also in the office. There's a combination of hybrid office. And I think if the employee has the possibility in this kind of work, it shows out that he is happy. He enjoy his work. He feel everything stressless, and I think also it's a good part for the image of the company. If the employees are happy about this job and do it like that.
Yes, wonderful. So does anybody have any further questions, or would you like to add something what you already covered? So Mario, I'm sorry, I was interrupting you before, but I just wanted to say goodbye to Stefan. Would you like to add anything from your side?
No, I think it's better when everything else has the chance, because when I started this topic, I'm hard to stop. It's hard to stop me, so I just give anyone else the chance to talk.
Okay, so Mario, we will be in contact afterwards, and we'll have many more opportunities to talk about this. So are there any further questions or anything else you would like to comment? Okay, so well, in this case, we're just about to finish this discussion round. I would say, please feel free to maybe grab another drink or another coffee. Please feel free to stay in this room, or feel free to change to the other room. And I would suggest that we meet again in 5 minutes from now. So Astrid, thank you very much for participating as well, and for this very, very fruitful discussion and your valuable inputs.
So maybe there are any questions, or you can also use the chat and write something in.
Maybe I just want to add one more thing, and this is additionally to that, what I said before, I think what we really need more is I see all these trainings and seminars for leaders. Yeah, how to get new work done, how to implement a self-organization, etc. But I really have a very big feeling that we need more seminars for the employees. Yeah, what does it mean? How do you empower them to take these responsibilities, etc. What are the chances? I think we need just a lot of more seminars, trainings, etc. for employees, not only for leaders. This is just one side. When we talk about new work, there are two sides that need to work together on the same level. And this means responsibilities on both sides, and both have to learn. Yeah? And we need a lot of more trainings for the second side as well.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, thank you so much for your input coming directly from a company side, right?
Oh, Agle, just a moment.
Yeah, Mario, I would like to ask you, do you think that the training for leaders should come from the same side as the training for employees?
Yeah, it might be. I see the training for leaders is important, and this it might be the same side. I don't know. I think there are a lot of not a lot of employees who would train other employees, so it has to be from the same side. Now, maybe you get the chance that you say, we know such a company who does that says, let your employees come to us, talk to our employees, let them be here for a day, and let them see how our employees decide, how they take the responsibilities, etc. So this is a good thing, yeah. But I think this can be from the same side, and I think it's so much important that the employees get training, because as soon as leaders say, okay, we want to do the new work, we want to break down top-down management, etc. Most of them are very convinced of this idea, and they are focusing on that. But to convince your own employee that this is the right way is sometimes very hard if it comes from your own leader. Yeah? So there should be trainers from outside, from companies who show them what this means, what the opportunities are. Because when you come as a leader and say, I know it's all good for you, it's all good for us, it's just opportunities, also some it's not the solution for everything, but a lot of opportunities. It's very often that, okay, the leader, he has to say that, etc. But they need to see and hear from other people, from companies where it already works and it is good, and from trainers who have seen a lot of different things and can tell you what works, what does not work, etc. So I think this is very important for the employees. Yeah, so this is my experience until today, and I'm very sad that there is so little seminars for that, or for possibilities for employees to get this. Yeah.
Do you know any employees who want to share their positive experience?
Yeah,
they will keep it for themselves.
No. There is a company that is called Telehase. And we started with them a year ago. They're also they're training us a little bit, and they are very open. So you can go there to their company, you can see how they work there, how they produce their things, and how they decide, and etc. So this was very fruitful for us, and we are regularly there, also our employees, to see how it works there and how they do it. They also tell what is not good, what was wrong, etc. So I think this is very important for us, for our employees. It's not enough. We need more of that, because we can't be there all the time. We have to do also work and get money. But there are some companies who offer that, yeah. So
maybe, Mario, sorry to step in again. Maybe you can connect with each other afterwards, or in the meantime, please feel free to use the chat. We really have to close the session now. I also quickly have to jump to the other room, since we'll do the moderation there. Stefan will be here in maybe 1 or 2 minutes. So thank you very much for all your contributions, for your participations, and I'm looking forward to talk to you again later on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, hello. What's going on in room number 1? This is Stephen from CHC. I hope you had a really, really cool first session, and we are going to start in a couple of seconds with the next round. So, hello and welcome. Let me take a look who is in this room here. A lot of people. Wow, that's awesome. So, did you had a great first session? Use the chat, type in the chat if you had a great session, or just thumbs up in the video. You can use thumbs up if you have a video. You can also use just a virtual reaction. So just on the bottom of your screen, you have the virtual thumbs up. I see your videos. So if you had a great session, just put it in the chat or a thumbs up. That's awesome. So what next? The next thing is we are going to talk about the future of work and about how you can become the employer of the future. So how you can be the employer of the future. So we will need the chat now. So you have the chat on the bottom of your screen. So just click the symbol chat, and then you have on the right side, you have the chat and you can type something in. So who is in HR? Who is in HR? Just type HR into the chat. Who is in HR? Who has one person, a big team, who is recruiting people, who is in some kind involved in HR? Put it in the chat. Let me see who is in some kind involved in HR. Birgit, awesome. HR employee. Annika, HR, awesome. Who else? Who else is into HR? I see a couple of people who are into HR. I know that Nadine is into HR. I know, for example, that, let me take a look. Christian Steiner is into HR because he's doing a lot about safety, a lot about health, a lot about processes. So he is in some kind involved into HR. Yeah. I see Mario Koller. I know that Mario definitely is into HR. I see Simone Ilgner. I also know that you are involved in HR. So that's really, really good. Yes, here we go. Thank you for being alive, and thank you for using the chat, because we need you and we need your engagement. And you will need the engagement from your team members and from your employees in the future. And this is exactly what we are going to talk about in the next 25 minutes. So let me tell you a little bit before I jump into this HR topic and into how to become the employer of the future. About 2 years ago, when COVID hit, I lost everything. Within one press conference, the government of my company shut down our whole economy. They shut down every single thing you can imagine. They said, okay, we have a hard lockdown. We don't know what will going on with COVID. We have to stop everything. And with this just one conference, press conference, I lost the work and all the effort from over 20 years of my life. And the next 24 hours after this press conference, 100% of all our customers canceled their projects, stopped their projects, or stopped the negotiation for new projects. And we had at this point over 2.5 million in proposals out right before closing. We had hundreds of consulting days going on. We had dozens of big corporate projects running, and a lot of people we supported. And after these 24 hours, I had to go to my team, I had to go to my employees, and I had to tell them, hey guys, I don't have work anymore for you. And I do not know how we can go into the future. And the reason why I'm telling you this is not because I had a hard time, but the reason why I'm telling you this is this was a shock. And this was an impact not only in my life, but probably you can imagine this was also a massive impact in the life of my teams and in the life of my employees. And this happened not just in my company or in my companies, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this, but this happened in every single company around the world during the last 2 years. In every single company, every single human being on this planet Earth had in some way, some kind of shock the last 2 years. And that's the reason why I'm telling you this story, because you have to be aware what your team is dealing with. You have to be aware what happens here for all your employees, for all your team members during the last 2 years. And in a lot of situations, it just happened not once, it happened twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I don't know in which country you are from, but in Austria, where I am from, we had in the meantime, I think we had 5 hard lockdowns. In the last 2 years, they shut down the company, they shut down our whole country 5 times. And every single shutdown, every single lockdown, every single situation is doing something with your employees and is doing something with your team members. And that's the reason why I'm telling you this. So you have to be aware what is going on in your company. You have to be aware what is going on here in your employees and in your team members. So the reason why I'm telling you this is we have to know where we have to start. We have to know what is the foundation, and we have to know, okay, where can we start? What do we have to deal with? What do we have to focus on? And how we can get out with our team members of this so-called shock moment. And to give you a little bit more information about this, yes, at this point, 2 years ago, I just opened my search company. I opened my first company in overseas in the United States. I had 2 companies in Austria, one in the United States, and we were 100% offline. So we worked 100% on site at our customers. So we went to our customers to execute projects, to execute coaching, mentoring, training, leadership training, and stuff like that, and the place of our customer. And so we couldn't go on with this business approach. It was not possible to do business like this anymore. So, and at this point, I could easily say, okay, wow, I'm done. I'm going to take the failure. I'm going to close my companies. I'm going to shut everything down, and I'm going to be bankrupt. I could have said this because it was not my fault. I didn't even invent COVID. I didn't told everybody to shut down the company. I could have stopped at this moment. But I decided that I will figure it out, not just for me, but foremost for my family and for my employees and for my team members. And this was the driving force within me. I made the decision, I am going to figure it out. And again, why I'm telling you this, because you need to make the decision that you will figure it out to become the employer of the future. Nobody else can do this for you. You have to make the decision. You have to figure it out that you become the employer of the future. And I saw most of you are in some kind involved in HR. So you have it in your hands to change this and to turn the ship around. And it was exactly what I did with my companies. Was it hard? Oh man, it was the hardest 2 years I can imagine. We had to reinvent ourselves 7 times. We have to rebuild our teams twice. But we changed it, and we have a completely remote structure and a 100% remote team in the meantime. And I founded a 4th company and a 5th company in the meantime. And for example, to give you a little bit background information, one of my newest companies is a tech startup. We are 100% remote. It has 28 employees. We just founded it 6 months ago. And these 28 employees are in 10 different countries all around the world. So it's super, super diverse. And we work 100% remote. Nobody of us ever saw each other in person, but we are thriving and we are building something huge together. So a lot of people had some kind of shock moment, but you have to make a decision that you are going to figure it out. And opportunities for the future are so big, it were never bigger than it is today. So that's enough from my story for the moment. Let me go a little bit more into details and a little bit more how you really can execute the things I just told you. Yeah, good. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you a little bit more here. So let me just share my screen here. Good. So how to become the employer of the future? How can you do it? Pretty simple. I am personally convinced, and I believe in this 1000%. I am personally convinced that a remarkable culture is needed to become the best employer in the future. I am so into this that I'm going to do everything with our customers to develop exactly this remarkable culture, because this will be needed. And to achieve this, you will have to do a couple of things in the future in your company. You will need storytelling. And that's the reason why I told you my story. You will need corporate health management. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this. Why? And this is not what I'm telling you. This is what McKinsey is telling companies and corporations. Yeah. So you will need employer branding. You will need 100% employee engagement. You will need personal branding. And that's something Trevor is going to talk a little bit more later. Trevor Crane is one of the experts of our CHC Summit this year, and he will talk more about personal branding and especially why personal branding is so important for you as an HR person, or personal branding as for your CEO. Because Elon Musk is known for different companies, but Elon Musk did a lot about personal branding because everybody knows Elon Musk. Everybody knows SpaceX or PayPal, for example, or Tesla. But the person is also being known. And that's the reason why you need personal branding in the future to become the best employer. And your company will need a greater purpose. And I tell you a little bit more about this. So what do I mean? Remember what I told you about this shock my employees experienced and the shock a lot of your employees experienced. So be aware that most of your employees are exactly at this stage at the moment. They are still in fear. They are still in a point of life in their business life where it is so much insecurity around. And there is so much going on in the world at the moment that most of your employees will feel like this. They will not tell you. They will not show it. But you have to be aware that most of your employees all around the world feel like this at the moment. With all the things going on, we had this COVID, we had the problems in Ukraine, we still have it, especially Europe is talking all around the clock about this war which is going on in Ukraine. We have inflation. Everything is getting more expensive. And these are things which are on top of the mind of your employees at the moment. So be aware what you are fighting against. Okay, so from this situation on, we have to do something. And for example, the World Economic Forum already started to talk about this so-called Great Reset. So in 2020, they started with this Great Reset initiative. And what it is all about, to bring it to the point, we have to focus more on our stakeholders, not just on our shareholders. We have to focus more on our stakeholders, and our employees are our stakeholders. So the World Economic Forum is telling it. Also, the Business Roundtable is telling it. But, and that's interesting, the Business Roundtable signed a strategic paper, and they signed a strategic paper about the greater purpose of a corporation. And they signed it already 2019. And what it is all about, they signed a paper where it is how we can get from a shareholder capitalism to a stakeholder capitalism, because in the future, we will need all our stakeholders to become successful. And you will need all your stakeholders to be the best employer of the future. No chance to do it in some other way. So what is in this strategic paper? You can download this free from the internet. So we have to value our customers. We have to invest in our employees. We have to be ethical with our suppliers. We have to support our local communities. We have to value our shareholders, and each of our stakeholder is essential. And this is the culture you have to develop in your company to become the employer of the future. Probably you know Gallup. Gallup is one of my favorite institutions because they do really amazing and awesome questionnaires and stats. And if you have a hard time to tell your CEO why he has to put in 50K per year or even 100K per year to become the employer of the future, use these numbers you see on the screen. Because when you are a production company, take a look at this 46% in safety incidents. So 46% of incidents and safety problems go down when you have engaged people in your company. So 64% of reduction of accidents, safety accidents in your company. And you know how much of the production companies are into safety. Go to the other spectrum, 18% increase of sales, 14% more of productivity. On the right side, 66% more well-being for your employees. So these are the reasons why you should take a lot of money to invest in the employer of the future, to invest in corporate health management, to invest in engaged employees. These are the reasons, because when you invest, you get 3 times, 10 times, 15 times the money back than you invested. And that's the reason why I told you these things. You need storytelling, corporate health management, employer branding, and so on and on and on. And the reason is, the question is, how do I start? Where do I start? How can I start? And I think McKinsey, one of the biggest consulting service companies all around the world, are telling you exactly where we should start. Did you ever heard about the Organizational Health Index? Yeah, probably you heard about it. McKinsey did one of the biggest researches ever done. They had over 10 years, more than 10,000 companies with millions of employees. They took a look at this, and they did one of the biggest surveys. And what came out? People who are focusing on corporate health management in their organization have an 18% increase in EBITDA. 18%, that's huge. Most companies have 2%, 3% growth every single year. Companies who focus on corporate health management have 18% increase over and over and over again. They have 3x the total return of shareholders. These are the numbers you should use when you need money for a project. You should use these numbers. They are not from us. They are from McKinsey, one of the biggest consulting companies in the world. You should use this. You should show this to the decision maker if you do not have the budget. And you should talk about this with the decision makers who has the budget. Because you cannot become the best employer of the future. You cannot have engaged employees if you want to achieve this without a budget. That's not possible, period. That's not possible. So what did we do? And we are in business since over 22 years in the meantime. We helped companies and we developed a very, very unique approach. We developed the so-called CHC process. And in this CHC process, there is a so-called corporate health management house. And we have 5 different pillars we are talking about this. So it's not about, okay, you need to be a better nutritionist, you have to exercise. No, this is not what corporate health management is all about. This is not how you get employees who are engaged. This is not how you get you become the employer of the future. So it's not enough if you do a presentation about health and nutrition, if you have a personal trainer in the company or somebody who is doing massage once a week. This is not bringing you to the point where you become the employer of the future. And that's the reason why we developed this corporate health management house. So we are focusing on 5 different things. So I don't go into details, but just a little overview. We are focusing in the first pillar about the mental stress. So we are approaching exactly the problem I told you what your employees are in the moment. They are insecure. They have massive amounts of stress. They are right before burnout in a lot of situations. So we are addressing this problem. The second point is everything about corporate wellness and corporate wellness benefit packages if you are in the US or international. In Austria, we have a lot of things, it's called BGF, betriebliche Gesundheitsvorsorge. So corporate wellness is medicine, is all the things with the doctors, but it is also about nutrition, it is about exercise, it's about mental health. So this is about corporate wellness. The next, what we are focusing on is new work. So new work, remote work, hybrid work, new work of office, the future of work. This is what we are addressing here. The next step is we are focusing on feedback, because when you listen to all these stats from the business roundtable, we have to take care about our employees. How can we do this? We involve them in the business. And how can we involve our employees? We try to get feedback from them. So the easiest way is do a survey. Ask your employees something. It's the easiest and fastest way you can do something for your employees. Talk to them, ask them, hey, how are you? How are you really? What's going on? What are you thinking about? Do you also have all these tremendous fears in your head about all this crazy shit's going on in the world at the moment? Can you even think about and concentrate on your work every single day with all this crazy stuff's going on? Hey man, I have all these crazy things in my head too. Be honest, be authentic, and get feedback from your employees. And the last thing you need for an awesome and remarkable culture is you need leadership training and development. In the other room, I talked with Nadine Choi about personal development for entrepreneurs. And believe me, you also need personal development for your leadership teams. And you also need personal development for your organization, for your employees, for all your team members. So what it is all about, to wrap this up, it's much easier than you can think about. So we developed this super unique CHC process where we are focusing on your employees in the first step. We involve your employees. We raise their engagement. We help you that you have highly engaged employees. And we work with the employees that you have individual responsibility. Every single employee will be able to take the responsibility. And these are things you can also do on your own. Try it, no problem. When you have already great systems which are delivering this, awesome. But you have to focus on your employees. You don't need to use our unique CHC process, but you need to go through these steps to become the employer of the future. The next thing is we are focusing on leadership, leadership training, leadership development, how the communication is in your company, how the leadership culture is. Because leaders have the biggest impact on their teams ever. There are a lot of stats, there are a lot of surveys where they try to figure out, okay, what is the biggest impact on an employee? What's the biggest impact? Is it the working hours? Is it if they have to work in production or white label, blue collar worker? What else? What is it? And always it was the leader. The direct leadership member has the biggest impact. So we are focusing on this. We are addressing this, and we are doing organizational development. And the third thing is we are focusing on the processes. And this is the process development. So you need to address these three levels in your company. And we developed this very unique CHC process. So your outcome, if you go through this process, pretty simple. You become the best employer of the future. And we did this already with dozens of people and companies. So you have a big international corporate groups like Infineon or Lenzing or Mondi or Siemens, probably you know, or Henkel or MAN. So a lot of big international corporate groups, but also small and local businesses like Murray or Brambles Bakery or Rymex. So a lot of people, Styoma Dental Clinic. So this is working for big corporate groups, but also for small local businesses. But you have to do something. And all these huge international companies are telling this. This is not my thing. This is not what I invented. This is not what CHC invented. But all these huge, big corporate consulting groups are telling. So Gallup, Deloitte, McKinsey, World Economic Forum, also the Business Roundtable. So do you remember what I told you at the beginning? I'm really personally convinced that a remarkable culture is needed to become the best employer. And that's the reason why you should focus on employee engagement, because this will increase productivity and this strengthens your leadership culture. And this is exactly what we are doing since 22 years. And we really want to help you with this. You can do this on your own. Awesome. You have already great people who can execute this. Awesome. If you need help, let us help you, because we did it already with a lot of companies. And this is the reason why we have a very, very unique present for you. This is the reason why we want to give you something that you took the time to be on this call today. And I'm going to put it in the chat because you have the opportunity to take advantage for a free CHC check, we call it. It's completely free. You cannot buy something. There is no strings attached. So you have it in the link. Just click the link and take advantage of this CHC check, because we are walking you through all these steps, and we are helping you how you can implement these steps in your company. Again, no strings attached. It's completely free. You cannot buy something in this CHC check. We want to help you, and we want to say thank you. So, and this is also what I do now. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to me. And in a couple of seconds, the next session will start here. So the next session will be about successful process in hybrid office with Katharina Schnitzler. You had Katharina already, and I'm going to say goodbye for now because I'm going to jump into the other room, and in a couple of seconds, Katharina will take over and we see us in the main room in 25 minutes from now. Bye for now, and thank you very much.
So, hello and welcome everybody. I can see that we already have a few participants. Can you hear me? Can you see me? In fact, I cannot see you. It would be very nice and very kind of you if you would turn on your camera. Okay, Birgit, thank you. Okay, maybe you need a few more minutes. Then I would suggest that we already start with the expert session on the topic successful process in hybrid office. I have the very big pleasure today to introduce myself to you since I'm doing the moderation and will be speaker of this next session. So my name is Katharina Schnitzler. I work for CHC as an office manager, and I'm a management and business consultant for project and process management as well as for organizational development. And today, as already mentioned before, I would like to talk a little bit about successful processes in hybrid office. So I will just quickly share my presentation with you. So it is supposed to work now. Can you see my desktop and the presentation? Maybe if you would be so kind to give me your thumb or yes, perfect. Okay, so then let's just start off. Hybrid office. Let's start with this term because this is also, like Rosa mentioned before in our discussion panel on new work, this is one of those buzzwords that everybody's talking about, but nobody's really, I'm not sure if everybody's really sure about what it really means. So I don't want to give you a definition right now. I just want to give you some impressions what a hybrid office can be or not. And it could be this, maybe. It could also be this. It could be this as well, or this, or this. Very nice, right? In fact, it could also be a combination of all those situations, or a combination of certain parts. In fact, what does it mean? Employees may not only work inside the office, but they may also work outside the office. So at a glance, this sounds very simple, but in detail, it may take various forms, in fact. And the hybrid office may offer more flexibilities to employees regarding the question when and where to work. So I would like to take some time and first of all, to look at the differentiation of the work location. Of course, the very obvious one is the work inside the office and the work outside the office. Whereas work outside the office, it doesn't matter right now whether it's the home office or if it's the coffee around the corner, if it's on the beach like we saw before. However, we differentiate the degree of flexibility regarding the work location. So we have certain options like office first. That means the office remains the primary place of work. And working outside the office is in fact only the exception. The option partially flexible means that employees can also work outside the office on specific days. Fully flexible means that employees can choose, in principle, every day whether they want to work in the office or outside the office. And remote first is in fact the complete opposite of office first. In principle, the work takes place remotely and the office is only used as a place of work in exceptional cases. And when we now take a look at the working time, we can also distinguish the degree of flexibility of working time from low flexibility to high flexibility. And we have now three options here. The fixed working time with really completely fixed working hours, partly flexible working time where you have core working hours and the flex time option, and fully flexible, which means it's completely independent of time. And if we combine now those two elements, the work location, the working time, you may quickly realize that there are numerous hybrid working models currently out there. And from those ones, the most appropriate one has to be found. So it's, in fact, sometimes it's not only the question, it's inside the office or it's home office, there are many more options. So I would like to involve you a little bit more now. Can you give me an idea, where do you currently put yourself regarding your working model within your company? So please, I'm looking for somebody very brave who wants to share. Or if you feel more comfortable, you can write something in the chat. Okay, thank you. Mario wrote remote first, and Birgit, you wrote partially. Partially. Okay, okay, okay. Any further comments? Does anybody else want to share your working model?
Yeah, I can tell you we all just work about 1 day in the office. We're about 40-45 people, and because of that we also tried the third thing. It's the virtual office. Interesting interesting thing, but all of us are 1 day, or a lot of us also no days in the office anymore.
Okay, thank you very much. So thanks to everybody for sharing your current working model. If we now look at this table, somehow we tend to say that what's happening now? The perfect model could be this one here. It's fully flexible in terms of working location. It's fully flexible in terms of working time. I do not completely agree, because I would say it rather depends on the situation of the company. It depends a lot on the management, on the employees. It depends on many factors, and it's not only black or white. There are many circumstances that you really need to keep in mind before you take a decision. And of course, the more flexibility we have in our working time, in a working location, it may also bring along some challenging aspects, because it could mean high coordination effort for the company. It could mean that employees feel emotionally or socially isolated from each other. It could also have a negative effect on the bonds with the colleagues. And this is a very crucial topic where I would like to enter now in the following next minutes, that current processes in place might not be appropriate anymore. Might have to be questioned, might have to be adjusted. But since we are in a changing world, in a changing working world, in a changing society, I think we need to take a look at this. So I would now like to speak about process, and probably some of you may ask, but do I really need to deal with processes? So I will not answer this question right now, but I brought along something that I want to share with you. So this is usually, if you think about one of your processes in your company, this is a mapping of how the process should be, okay? This is how you think the process is, okay? You see a really bit more complex, more loops forward and back, and how the process in fact actually is usually differs a lot from how it should be. And the truth is, you only know when you start to look at it. If you don't take a look at your process, you will not know if they are lean or if they are somehow like the one on the right hand side, which now brings me to the next topic. We really support our clients, and we help them with lean management to optimize the processes. So lean management is a method. Probably you all heard about it. Probably you already implemented something in your company. The advantage is that you quickly get optimized process with a high level of employee participation. And lean management is, or lean processes is defined as a set of management practices to improve efficiency and effectiveness by eliminating waste. And in fact, the core principle of lean is to reduce and eliminate non-value adding activities and waste. And with the process-oriented approach, opportunities for improvement are sought in the process organization in order to minimize waste, to reduce costs, to shorten the process time, to avoid mistakes, and to deliver the best quality. And there are 5 lean management principles that I would quickly cover now. Number 1 is the value definition from the customer's point of view. So we usually, when we try to identify the value, it's always, we try to use the perspective of the client, not our own perspective, because that's what we try to do, right? And number 2, the value stream mapping. In the value stream mapping, all tasks and activities involved in providing the service are considered. The data obtained is used to describe an optimized target process. Number 3, the implementation of the flow principle, and probably this is the most challenging part of lean management. This principle should create a process without any interruption or without high inventories. Number 4, introduction of the pull principle. That means only acting when a customer orders or when a minimum stock is reached. That means we avoid unnecessary surge and transport processes. And number 5 is striving for perfection. So after number 5, we can go back to number 1, because this is something which will never end. We're talking about continuous improvement. With this principle, lean management becomes a permanent task, and employees of the company should independently question processes and make suggestions for improvements. So now you will ask me, okay, very good information, but how can I get now to optimize my process? What do you need to do to really optimize my processes? So first of all, you need to do a process selection. So that means you need to identify the process with the highest optimization potential. Please, please, please don't make the mistake and start with 10 processes at the same time, because the thing is, and we see that a lot with our clients nowadays, that when they start to look at the processes, they see a lot of somehow potentials for improvement. And we always recommend to really start with one and then to cover one after another. And the best idea would be to start with the one with the highest optimization potential, obviously. Step number 2 is a process optimization workshop. So of course, there are different methods and different approaches. We have the best successes with our clients with those kind of process optimization workshops. So we recommend you to invite all involved stakeholders who are involved in the process. So this now depends a lot on the current situation of your company. This depends a lot on the process. I usually say that you should also a little bit keep in mind the number of participants in the workshop. It doesn't make any sense to invite 30 people because you won't have a fruitful discussion. So something, if it's possible, around 10 or maybe 15 people. If it's a little bit more, it depends again on the characters who are participating, if they're very active, if they're very quiet. However, somewhere in this area would be good. You don't need to involve all the people from all the departments who are involved in the process, okay? Sometimes it's okay that you have representatives of each department that are involved in the process. So then the next step is, or the next part is the process visualization of the current process. Visualization is very important because, as I already said before, we need to look at what currently happens in order to have a chance to improve something. And what we always recommend on what's in my personal opinion, the best way to do the visualization of a process is with those sticky notes. And in fact, then in the next step, we try to identify the pain points. So when we have a completely visualized current process, we step into single phase and ask, where are the biggest problems that you currently see? Where are the biggest loops that you need to do? Where is the biggest need for checking with colleagues, telephoning again, emailing again, verifying whether something has already been done or not? So those are somehow the pain points. It could be a pain point in terms of method or methodology. It could also be a pain point, which is something annoying. So because if you always have to ask your colleague 3 times to do something, it's a personal pain point, but it's in fact a valid pain point. In the next part, we try to find solutions for those pain points. Since we have all the relevant stakeholders, let's put it like this, on the table, we have very good conditions for finding appropriate solutions. And last but not least, we try to finish with visualization of optimized process. I say try because sometimes it's not possible to do everything inside of one workshop. Depends again a lot on the type of process, and it depends, yes, on the people that are involved. So maybe you need 2 or 3 workshops. And step number 3 is a follow-up of the process. You need to do a monitoring either of the process or of process-related KPIs, because if you only do the work and look at the process, okay, that could be changed, and then everybody goes home, goes back into his office. After some time, people tend to fall back into old habits, and you cannot gain anything with this. So you need to make sure to have some kind of follow-up activities. By the way, the whole process optimization workshop, of course, in former times, we always did it in person in the office. We tried to bring everybody together in the office. We had very good experiences as well in hybrid office. So, I mean, home office, I'm not sure, because it's fairer to have at least some people there and to have at least a moderator there to yes, to do the thing with the notes. But in fact, it also works. Yes, it also works for this. So last but not least, I would like to share with you some success factors and process requirements for your hybrid office. I would like to structure it into 2 blocks. The one is new culture or structure of work. The other one is a new leadership culture, because everything can be summed up to those 2 dimensions. Let's start ahead with new culture or structure of work. Number 1, please, again, keep your processes lean. It will save your life. Another topic is train employees on self-organization. This is the more flexibility you offer to your employees, the more they need to have the competences to organize themselves very well. So, and this is something you cannot expect from everybody. You know, people are different, employees are different, their characters are different, but this is something that can be trained. And when we now look at the side of the new leadership culture, we recommend to go ahead towards the direction of a result-oriented leadership instead of a time-oriented leadership. You know, we hear a lot of times now with our clients, we try to bring back the employees to the office because somehow we can control them a little bit better. We know a little bit better what they do. This is not really the approach for the future from my personal point of view, because we should go into the direction of the delivering result, not only sitting time in the office, because you can sit 8 hours in the office without doing anything or without producing anything, right? So, and another very important topic is time for leadership activities. Managers really need to have time for leadership activities. That means you should really establish a structure to enable result-oriented work. Sometimes leaders or managers, they are so much caught up in operational topics that pop up within their team, things that should work but don't work. Hello, processes again. And this is something which is not favorable for the situation. So try, when you are a manager, try to make sure to really have sufficient time for leadership activities. And there are now two more aspects that apply to both new structure of work and new leadership culture. It's number one, to formulate clear expectations. So everybody needs to be on the same page. You know, you need to clearly say what you want as a manager. You need to clearly say what you want as a team member. And number two is communication. It's so important. I had to write it down 3 times. And within all our client projects, we see that communication is one of the topics everybody needs to work on, and particularly in hybrid office solutions, you really need to make sure to have a good communication with the team. So then from my side, thank you very much for participating. Do you have any questions? Do you have anything you want to contribute at this stage?
When you say time for leadership activities, what do you mean?
I refer to this, that usually what I mentioned before, leaders or managers, they are so much caught in operational topics. Of course, it's also part of a manager, but if you have some time on topic,
what would you
suggest?
What type of leadership activities would you suggest?
It's on the one hand, so for me, number one leadership activity is to provide appropriate structures for employees to make sure that they can bring themselves inside, that they can provide for appropriate ideas, that there is a good working culture, and a culture where everybody can clearly communicate something, where without fear or without being afraid of sharing new ideas. And yes.
Okay, thank you.
I hope this answers your question.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Perfect. Any further questions? We have 2 more minutes left. So if there's anything else you would like to share or would like to add, please feel free. Teresa, I'm not sure whether you were trying to say something. You're on mute.
Sorry. When you say to keep the processes lean, you mean the internal processes?
Yes. Well, it depends now a lot. It depends whether you are a small company or whether you're an entrepreneur, or if you are a very big company with a long history and many years of working experience. Because usually, initially, when a company starts, you don't really, processes is not the topic number one that you deal with. There are, and I completely agree, there are other topics that are more important, particularly at the beginning, particularly when you're a small company. But the more you grow, the more time passes by. You somehow have your work structures, and you sometimes have processes in place which were not defined, which simply appeared, and the more people are involved, the more complex it gets, and the more potentials for problems can arise, the more potentials for waste, as we mentioned before. Therefore, the statement is meant in this way: try to keep them as lean as possible. Of course, you will not be able to, if you start now, you heard that and you found this inspiring and you want to go ahead, it doesn't make any sense, as I said before, to start with all your processes and to look at all the processes. But there is this point where you should start, and it really makes sense to start at a certain point, because if you don't do it, this is my experience, at least experience that we also have with our clients, things are not getting easier, and might be even more complicating a few years from now on.
Do you mean, I mean, when you talk about processes, are you talking about disciplinary processes, for example?
Yes and no, it could be disciplinary processes. I'm rather talking about working processes. So the working processes that are in place. So Teresa, what company, may I ask you, what company do you work for?
I work for the HR company, and actually we specialize in employment law, which is why I also have set up an NGO, and I'm working in the education sector. So it's just that I have teams working for me. And I just wanted you to clarify what you meant by processes, because I do it from the human rights angle, and I do it from international human rights, international employment law, and national labor law type of angle. So I was just wondering what you meant by working processes.
I mean, in the area of HR, it could be, for example, the onboarding process. You know, it could be the recruitment process in general terms. You know, so there are certain steps that need to be done in order to reach a certain point, and this is what I was referring to. Okay, so then thank you very much. We are now really running out of time, and we are in fact now finishing with the first part of today's event, and I would just quickly share with you something else. I will put now in the chat a link, because I know this whole topic, processes and lean management, there might be a lot of question marks. So if there is anything else you would like to clarify with us, we offer you for free a CHC check. That means you get a personal talk where you can ask your questions in those structural or strategic terms. So I will just quickly copy the link into the chat. And I know that some of you already have an appointment, or probably already had their CHC check, and this is more meant for the others who have not yet made an appointment. So please feel free to click on the link and choose a time and a date which is suitable for you. And it's completely free. It's a gift from us to you, since you are so kind and participate in our events. So then I think we're really at the end of this session, and I may kindly invite you to join me to the main session, where we have the break and the online networking. Or, of course, feel free to grab a coffee, to grab a drink, or whatsoever. So thank you so much for participating, and see you soon in one of the next sessions.
Hello, everybody. Back again. Hi.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, Jeffrey. So
I'm just waiting for Stefan to join us.
Okay. Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Great to have you here. Let's give them a couple more seconds to join us in this room, because we just wrapped up in the main session, and the people are jumping into room number 1 and room number 2 at the moment. And we will start in a couple of seconds. And I'm really, really looking forward to introduce you to our first partner in a couple of seconds. He's going to tell you about an, in my opinion, incredible venture which started not long ago. And we just talked a lot about social media in room number 2, because we talked about LinkedIn, we talked about Insta. We have one of the most successful people in the social media world here at one of our experts, Taif, and this was the teaser, because the next thing you will hear is about social media.
Yeah.
So let me introduce you to our partner, Jeff Rakar from HotMe, and he is founder and CEO of HotMe, the hottest app ever. And he's going to tell you what it is all about. Jeff, the stage is yours. We're welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. So I hope you can see the presentation. Is it in presentation mode? Awesome. So hello, everybody. My name is Jeffrey Turiraka. I'm the initiator of HotMe and the mind behind the concept, and it's a pleasure to be here today. HotMe is a revolutionary social media app which will establish a completely new field of entertainment, competitive entertainment. HotMe will be the first app turning social media into a huge competition, because HotMe is the first app in which users will be able to compete against each other in all different kinds of entertainment categories, creating a globally accessible contest. Look around, we are surrounded by competition. Competition excites huge audiences, adds spice to so many different shows and events, and is omnipresent in our everyday lives. So competition excites huge audiences, and so does social media. So we've decided to combine them with each other in order to create the ultimate social media user experience. And therefore, we've come up with an unrivaled concept which will blow your mind. Our vision is that users will be able to compete against each other in all different kinds of entertainment categories: sports, music, fashion, singing, dancing, cooking, in order to establish one of the most entertaining platforms on the internet. By blending viral trends with our competitive concept, HotMe will soon rank among the most popular apps on the web, both utilizing and creating viral trends. We believe that generally the social media audience can be split in two different target groups. On the one hand, we have the jury users who greatly enjoy viewing the content of others and who are constantly searching for new and innovative entertainment categories. They love to make up their mind about the content of users they view, rating their performance, their creativity, and exchanging their views and opinions with friends, their family, or the online community. The other user group are the so-called competitor users who are brave enough to seek the spotlight, who want to take the stage, and who are brave enough to actually step in front of a huge audience. And this user type has actually been confirmed by a couple of recent studies and surveys, which have found out that a vast amount of young people actually dreams about becoming famous on the internet. So they're striving to become either entertainers or influencers. And HotMe will be the perfect platform for them to reach their audience, grow their audience, but also to pursue their ambitions. A major selling point of HotMe is that we target both active and inactive users, and that our concept meets the demands of the majority of social media users out there. So a question we get quite a lot is why we're actually brave enough, so to say, to venture into one of the most competitive markets out there, the social media market. And the answer is actually pretty straightforward, because there hasn't been a more perfect time to enter the market than just now. Because take a step back and look at the market. When was the last time that a business introduced a revolutionary social media app? In order to answer that question, we actually have to go back quite some time, and the answer is TikTok. Since then, no real social media novelty has actually been introduced to the market. The only claimed novelty was YouTube Shorts, but the general reception by the online community wasn't very positive. So the most headlines said YouTube Shorts, the blueprint of TikTok, or the less flattering one said YouTube Shorts, the bold copy of TikTok. So users are craving for innovation, they are actively demanding innovation, and we hear their call. So Stefan and I, my business partner, are aware that it will be very, very challenging to survive in the rough sea of social media as a duo. So we've partnered up with, as we call it, the triangle of success, experience, and reach. So we've partnered up with 10X Incubator, which is one of the greatest startup incubators in the US, which was founded by Grant Cardone and Jared Yellen. So these two gentlemen are on Team HotMe, and they're super excited about the app and cannot wait for us to enter the market. So these two bring so many different valuable assets to the table, but the major upside of having partnered with 10x is that we have access to their impeccable infrastructure, meaning that from the very first day that we entered the market, roughly 35 people will be working for our business, guaranteeing success. And this is incomparable. There's generally no startup which has 35 employees already at the start. And this is super essential and super important for us to grow and scale rapidly in a competitive and short-lived market of social media. So this was just a very, very short introduction to HotMe, because there's so much more to our concept, so many more innovations. We've come up with an extensive list of completely new and innovative in-app purchases. So we want to make attention purchasable. We also have the mission to make social media social again. So there's a lot to come and a lot to look out for. So I guess you're probably wondering where we're currently standing. And so far, we've already found quite a substantial amount of people who are as excited about HotMe as we are and who want to invest in our business. However, currently, the investment process is on hold. The reason is, for foreign investors, it's very, very difficult to invest in a US market. It's a tedious and costly process, and you have to obtain the status of being an accredited investor, meaning that you have to fulfill strict financial criteria imposed by the SEC. And Stefan and I had the opinion that we need to simplify this process and want to make HotMe an investment case for everybody. So if you're interested in staying up to date and finding out more about HotMe and when we're planning to launch, just type HOT into the chat. If you want to be informed when our second round of investment starts, because we've completed the legal procedure to make HotMe an investment case for everybody, just type me into the chat and we'll be in touch with you. So thank you so much for your attention, and we're super excited and we cannot wait to welcome all of you on our platform. So Stefan, thank you very much.
That's really awesome. Give a virtual applause to Jeff and thank you for your presentation. This was really, really great. And I'm sure HotMe will have so much attention in the future. So if you want to stay updated, if you want to be one of the first persons to be informed when you can use HotMe for your social media marketing, then just type HOT in the chat, or me if you probably want to have a really huge investor case. So just type HOT in the chat and you just get informations and we keep you updated. So once again, Jeff, thank you so much, and see you later. So let's go into the next session, and the next partner presentation will be from Nadine Choi. And let's see if Nadine is already here in our room, and she is wrapping up her presentation in room number 2, and she will join us in a couple of seconds. So how was it already? How was it till now for you? Any takeaways? You can type in the chat. Any takeaways you want to type in the chat, or you just want to shout out and tell us what was your biggest takeaway till now? Good. No takeaways yet. I'm sure you have one, but you don't want to write it in the chat. That's fine, no problem. We will have Nadine in a couple of seconds joining us, and then she is going to tell you more about the Global Movement of Hope. And you heard the Global Movement of Hope is one of our 2 partners today. And we really, really, really want to thank you as our partners, because due to our partnerships, it is possible to really do this event for free, because otherwise it wouldn't be possible to do events like this for free. And I told you at the beginning, our speakers do not get paid for this event. And so this is something really, really remarkable of them, because speakers like Trevor, for example, or Nadine normally get thousands of dollars. They take thousands of dollars to speak at events, to speak on stage, but they're doing it for free. And that's the reason why we can collect money for the donation. So Let me see if Nadine is already here. No, not yet. So I'm going to just check into room number 2 and bring her to this room. So I'm back in a couple of seconds. Stay tuned. I'm back in a couple of seconds and be right back with you. So I'm back with you, and she is going to join us in a couple of seconds. So she's going to join us in a couple of seconds. Where is Nadine? Nadine. I just saw her in the main room, and she will jump into the room in a couple of seconds. Here we go. Nadine is with us. She already joined us, and Nadine will do the next presentation. And as I already told you, Nadine is the CEO and a founder of the Global Movement of Hope. And she will tell you a little bit more about this really incredible initiative. So Nadine, the stage is yours. You are on mute, Nadine. You are on mute.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, thank you so much, Stephen. It's great to be here today and to tell you a little bit more about the Global Movement of Hope. So I am the chair and founder of the Global Movement of Hope. And this organization had just come about last year in August of 2021. And it was created because there wasn't a lot of organizations in the world that were all inclusive for all people, for all ages, for all backgrounds, for all religions that we could find. In fact, there was not any that we could find right now that were focused on all people. And we were really excited about that. And the idea of bringing hope for tomorrow into hope for today and redefining that perception was something that we were very excited about. So that's one of the things that we're bringing into the world to impact billions of people over the next 2 to 5 years. And we're really, really excited about bringing the idea of actionable hope into the world. So I'm just going to share my screen here. I have a brief presentation I will take you through. Just give me 1 second. I can pull it up here. Okay. So I'm not sure if you can see that okay. Stephen, can you see that okay?
We can see it now.
Okay,
yeah,
sounds good. So this is our global movement. Awesome. Thank you. So this is our Global Movement of Hope. And like I said, we just founded back in August of 2021. And we are all about bringing actionable hope into the world. And there's many definitions, like I said, about hope. And we're all about bringing hope for tomorrow into hope for today. And we fully believe that life is for living and for loving and for truly blessing people. And people right now in our world, just with what we just went through with the pandemic and so many other, crises and darkness and all these, chaotic things in our world that are going on, people need to hear messages of hope and stories of hope more than ever before in history. One of the quotes that we have that's a part of our kind of mission is what you can see here up on the screen, which is hope without action is like fire without fuel. So I just want you to take, 5 seconds to really allow that to sink in for a minute. And just think about that. When you have hope, it's always the action that we take towards the hope that creates the change in our lives. So it's just so important to make sure that we take action. And it's easy to talk about it, think about it, but it's what we do that actually makes the change at the end of the day. So this here is a little bit about the Global Movement of Hope. It's for, again, like I said, it's all inclusive for all people. It's a platform that's free of charge. Our goal is ultimately to empower 1 billion people over the next 2 to 5 years. All of this you can also find on our website, which is at www.theglobalmovementofhope.com. And our mission is just to bring hope, to bring actionable hope to many people, fostering peace, harmony, human connections, freedom, life transformation, revival, balance, and to unite communities for the greater good and inclusivity of all humanity through the 12 most urgent evolving pillars of hope, which we'll talk briefly about in a moment. Our vision is very simple, is to bring actionable hope to the world globally. This is a little bit about our team. We are a global organization. We have people from Pakistan, from India, from Israel, to Dubai, to the UK, to South Africa, to Los Angeles, to Canada, United States, the Philippines, A few of our ambassadors of hope. We have influencers, ambassadors of nations, regular people. There's a few people on here you might recognize. These are just a few of our ambassadors of hope who have recently joined our team. If you're interested in becoming an ambassador of hope, again, you can go to our website and you can find out all of our benefits of becoming an ambassador of hope. We'd love to have you a part of our team. Moving forward, we are about, creating these connections and helping other people also do the same in their communities in every country of the world moving forward. These are a few of our advisors of hope. So we're looking for people to provide feedback and bring their creativity and their genius into our organization. A few of our pillars here, we have about 24, I believe, that are listed there, but some of the top pillars we're wanting to work on is mental health, education, healthcare, supporting men, women, and children. And there's many other things on there that are listed that are important, but those are some of our three priority pillars that we're working on right now. Here's a few of our partners. We have many more who are not mentioned on here yet that we're just officially waiting to have the legal rights to share the logos with, but one of the recent organizations we just partnered with was the entire Canadian Mental Health Association about creating a Listeners of Hope program to help people and be a part of supporting people going through difficult times right now. Our future involves many things, including in a university, a TV show, publication, organization, Boxes of Hope that we're looking at, creating a program called Hopepreneur, and many, many more. We have so many projects on the go. We're working on a theme song of hope for our organization. You also can download this app on the App Store if you have an iPhone, called Starfinder, Night Sky Map, and we've actually named a star in the honor of the Global Movement of Hope called Unity HHPL 117. There's a registration number that's on there, and I'll also put that in the chat at the end. You can just type the registration number, and anybody who's here, no matter where you are in the world, will be able to view the star up in the sky, which shows us that we are all in this together. We are all here to help to make a difference and to shine our light during this time of darkness. I'd also love to have your opinion. We're looking for some data and survey of hope. Your impact makes a difference in our world, and we're looking for some up-to-date stats and information globally on hope so that we can use that to better build out our global movement to reach more people and actually make that change that we've been talking about, which is that actionable hope. So we thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for listening. And if you'd like to reach out to apply to become one of our ambassadors of hope or advisors of hope, or if you have a story of hope you'd love to share, we would love to hear from you. So you can just reach out to us again. I'll put that in the chat, the www.theglobalmovementofhope.com. Thank you so much for listening today. It's great to meet each and every one of you. And I look forward to hearing from you all very soon.
Nadine, thank you so much. Thank you for introducing us to the Global Movement of Hope. And this is really such a great thing. And everybody should take a further look because this is huge. So let's get to our next session. And I'm going also to have Trevor here. Let's put the videos together. So we have Trevor in movement and also Nadine. So let's get it on. The next step will be a really, really super interesting talk. I was looking forward to the conversation since weeks because Nadine, Trevor, and I am going to talk about successful future of work. And it will be super interesting. First of all, Nadine, we don't see a video at the moment from your side. So first of all, let me tell you, I am so honored to have both of you on the CHC Summit this year, because I already told in the main room, it is not normal that you are participating in the event for free because you are highly paid speakers. You have to think about this audience. Nadine and Trevor get thousands of euros, and they do this event for free. Not for me, but for you. That you can participate in this event for free and that we are able to collect donations for a charity and to help families and to help kids with disabilities and with problems. And so thank you. I'm really, really honored to have you here. And I can't even tell you how much I appreciate you having us here. Good.
I was trying not to speak and just give you a 2 thumbs up.
So for whatever reason, when you don't heard Nadine or Trevor yet, Nadine is a global advisor and CEO and founder of Global Movement of Hope. And Trevor is an entrepreneur, author, and speaker dedicated to help entrepreneurs and companies all over the world to take their business to the next level. And let's start, because we talked about the future of work, and let's jump right into this. So Nadine, you are talking about leadership training and coaching. Trevor, you are so much into how you can position yourself, how you can position your company, personal branding, and all these things. Let's go with the lady first. Nadine, personal coaching for employees, yeah, or personal development for employees. Why is this needed in the future of work?
I believe that that's one of the most important things that we can focus on right now is into the future is the personal development, because there's a lot of things right now, even just speaking mental health wise, that people have just gone through with the pandemic and the isolation and the lack of human connection that's been there. There's just so much that's just starting, and in my opinion, just starting to really take surface and really be known in our world. So the coaching, the support, the human connection, just having that other perspective of somebody to help you through, especially the difficult times, to navigate, to give you that value that you're looking for from somebody who is in a place where you're looking to go, somebody who's walked the walk, somebody who's experienced the things that you've also experienced in life. This is something that's truly valuable, and it's something that is going to continue to be needed no matter where you're at as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a CEO in our world, no matter what country you're in. It's across the board. I deal with people from every country of the world, and there's not, one country that I haven't dealt with that doesn't need some sort of, personal growth and development and stepping into, learning something new every day, stepping out of your comfort zone. Like we talked about previously, that there's just more time now than ever before in history to really, be courageous and be bold and take those risks, do the things that you've always dreamed to do. I always say, live your life with no regrets. Think about, when you're 80 years old or 100 years old, or, at the end of your life, and you look back on your life, can you legitimately say, what, I lived my life to my best ability, and I lived my life with no regrets? Any decision, anything that crosses your path, always come back to that question: would I regret it if I said yes, or if I said no to something? And that's something that I use every day to this day that has really changed my perspective on that, and just allowing for personal growth, because when we're focused on the things that truly matter in our life, things that are most important to us, our purpose, our mission, our gifts, our unique gifts that each one of you has to tap into, that's something that's so valuable. There's gifts that each one of you that are here today that you have inside of you that certain people need to hear, and that only you can help, in this world. And it's about standing in that authority and dominion and moving forward to be able to take action and be able to make those dreams reality. It's no longer about thinking about doing things, but it's actually taking action to move towards doing those things, and being surrounded by those people, including, the people who are working on personal development, who are growing, who are showing up, who are modeling that. And what does that look like? It's never been more important than now to work on our personal development, whether it's learning something new, whether it's our health, whether it's our relationships, being in healthy relationships that are in balance, whether it's living from an authentic, vulnerable part of our heart-centered life. That's a huge part right now in leadership, is, standing in that part of you that you might be afraid to go to, that is a heart-centered place that allows people to see you for who you truly are, to see, you're a real person. You've gone through things. Like I've gone through things many times where I've gotten to a certain level and then I got knocked down. I would sabotage my success. And there's all these belief systems we have from where we grew up, and social media, and the news, and our parents and our friends and our teachers and our coaches and all these people who've influenced us to really, not step into our potential completely and limit ourselves and not hold ourselves back and keep ourselves stuck. So it's time right now for each one of you to step out of that and to get out of that kind of comfort zone where we've been living for so long, and you know, look at the things, the difficult things, like don't be afraid to deal with those difficult things, like the I'm not good enough, right, that we talked about earlier, being the greatest belief in our entire world right now. Most people believe they're not good enough.
That's really, let me jump into here, Nadine, because this is exactly what leaving this comfort zone and going proactive into the future. And let me take this and get it to Trevor, because Trevor is telling you and is talking about something which not a lot of leaders, in my opinion, already understood why it is important to be proactive in this area. So Nadine, thank you so much for the intro. Trevor, let me ask, you are so into personal branding. Why should leaders or CEOs or even employees get into personal branding in the future to be successful in the future of work? You are on mute, Trevor. You are on mute.
How about now? Is it okay now? So there are CEOs, there are managers, there are employees. I mean, everybody's an important part of the business. Like if no one was taking out the trash, like I don't think there's a small job in a business. And by the way, I've never met a company. Have you ever met a company? I've only met people. I've met people that either own companies or work in companies or something. So this is a people question. And if you're wanting to build the future of business, the future of the workplace, I think has to do with what Nadine was talking about, is the authentic communication about who you are and who you help and how you actually fit inside that group. And if you're the head French fry at McDonald's or whatever it is, then understanding what that means, it's and how to communicate with people. And I did a little 25-minute piece in the other room on like personal branding, and it's not about you, it's about the people that you're here to help and serve. So your personal brand, the authenticity is what stood out for me when Nadine was talking, and that is the future. Like real perfect and prim and polished and bullshit and lies and stuff is just not it. It's really communicating who you authentically are. And one of the best ways to connect with and build your personal brand, I don't care whether you are the dishwasher or you are running the company, is to connect with other people and show you care. And one of the coolest ways of doing that, and I was speaking with Anton about this, about his social media post that he might make for a new book he has coming out, right? Or that he has the idea of potentially doing, is to ask questions, become curious. It builds community. The workforce has been in an upheaval. It probably has been for a long time, certainly with what happened with COVID. But this is important about you understanding your lane. And maybe there's going to, get into the right job. Just tell the truth about who you really are. But it's making sure that you're consistent with this messaging, Anton. And this starts with the ask. So you can crowdsource this. What did Tafe say when he was teaching in the other group, or maybe it was on this channel? Is he said that the most positive promotion, one of the most positive things he does for promotion, is he engages help. He gets help. So it's humility and curiosity and authenticity and really showing that. And that's the future for all of us. Or else people are going to be abandoning your team and your company, and you're not going to want to freaking work there because all you got are these a-holes that think that they're cooler than you. I haven't asked permission to curse yet, but I've said frickin' and frackin' and a-holes but.
Awesome, Trevor. Awesome. Thank you. So let's really use this phrase we were using also for this event. So the future of work. How do you think the future of work look like? The future of work, how will it look like? Nadine, Trevor, who wants to go first?
I'll go first because this is easy for me. It's about love. I mentioned this before. I think that we all have a responsibility to find a way to love what you do love who you help, and love the results that you're trying to provide for your customer. We don't have the time. We are not living in a culture where people have to go into a frickin' factory and do shit they don't like. Not no more. The future of work, the future companies that are going to be alive are those that create an environment that nurture us. And you are part of that. Everybody on this call is a leader who's part of that. That's the future, and companies who do not will that will die.
Awesome, Trevor. Thank you. Nadine, the future of work. You are on mute, Nadine. You are on mute.
I was going to say, yeah, I agree with Trevor wholeheartedly. I love that you mentioned love, because I think that love is what makes our world go round, and having that loving kindness for ourselves first, and being gentle with ourselves sometimes, and without judgment, right? Like no judgment and no criticism to the things that are coming up, just being able to accept people and situations exactly where they're from, and enjoy the journey. One thing I would recommend is like enjoy the journey where you're at, and know that you're exactly where you're meant to be, and have fun along the way. So many people, we get so caught up in all the busyness and distractions of things, we forget to have fun and enjoy the moment. Like laugh and smile and enjoy where you're at, because it's a blessing to be here. It's a blessing to be alive during this time in history. And I would just say, step into all of who you are with no regrets, and don't be afraid to do something you've never done before, and dare to be different.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And it also is 100% what I talked about in my keynote a couple of hours ago. At this point, let me jump in and be the bad guy. Hate to go to their employer. So many people hate their job. So many people hate their life even, which is super sad, and which should not be like this. But a lot of people are in not such a bad things happening at the moment in the world the last 2 years with COVID and the Ukraine crisis and the inflation and all these things. So many people, also leaders and also executives, are in some kind of fear at the moment. So how can they get from this negative state of mind into this, okay, I love what I do. I really want to support my team. I really want to go for it. I really want to help the people. I love my team members. I love my employees. I love what I do. I love what my company is going for. How can we transition from where most of the people, or a lot of people, are at the moment, to this positive state?
Okay, since you didn't say a person, I'll go first, because now Nadine and I are taking turns. So I'll give it to you in 3 words. Tell the truth. It starts off with telling the truth, because what Nadine just said about making sure that you enjoy the journey is awesome until you're in the middle of a journey you don't like. So I was driving in my car one time and not enjoying the journey. I had to drive an hour from where I was to where I needed to go to pick up my daughter. Now, I was estranged from her mother, and we were playing. This was a pattern I didn't like. I had to make this drive 3-4 times a week, sometimes 5 times a week. It was an hour there and an hour back, and I was mad. I was seething in the car. So Nadine, there was no enjoying this damn ass journey. But what I did have the opportunity to do, and I was upset, I was cursing, I was punching, I was hurting my hand I was so pissed off. This was so unfair. So tell the truth about what it really is. Now, I just believe it's okay to be pissed and upset and not like something and be real about it. But what happens is you can also transform that shit when you tell the truth. Because I asked a question about what else could this mean. And in this 1 hour-long drive, it probably only took me about 15 minutes. In the middle of it, I was like, who was I torturing in the car? Not my ex, not any, like I was the torturer and the torturee. And so I was on a little temper tantrum baby rant, which I think I give everybody permission to do. Like, don't hide your feelings, be real. If you don't like doing dishes, then say it, and maybe you should have somebody else do the dishes, but sometimes you got to do them anyway. What you have the opportunity to do is transform the meaning. And here's the question for you. What else could this mean? And I asked that question, and I was able to, maybe this isn't about unfairness and what the judge said and and all these other things that I was thinking in my head. Maybe it could have been about love. Now we're getting back to that, Nadine, that it's good to be about my daughter. What would I be willing to do for my daughter? And then I noticed, Stefan, that I was driving around and this was a beautiful day. And I was hating everything, but it was beautiful. There were trees. And I transformed that drive. I said, what else could this drive mean to me? For the next 5 years, I had to do that drive. Sometimes only once a week because it didn't have to. Things went a little bit differently, but I ended up loving it. The drive I hated and loathed was one that I started to love. And I said, what else could I do at that time? How could I turn doing dishes, which I don't like, by the way, into something that I love? First, just tell the truth. So here's a little piece I'm going to give you. And then I'm turning over to Nadine. I know I'm going long, but hold on. This is good shit. Okay. I said shit. Oh, no. So here it is. Get a journal. Get a journal. And you have 2 pages. And on one side, you write down BS up at the top. Okay. This is homework, personal development homework for everybody that you get to do with you. Write down this is your belief system. It's not bullshit. I know that's what you were thinking. You think that BS stands for bullshit. No, it stands for your belief system. Write down the truth. This sucks. I don't like it. I don't like my job. I don't like this boss. Be real. And then write down the truth. And I'm not telling you that oftentimes the truth is like the polar opposite of what your belief system is. You're scared to ask that girl out for the date or the guy or the whatever. And it oftentimes is the polar opposite. Not always, but I'm just asking you to ask the question, what's the truth? Now you have an opportunity to transform the meaning of this event. And I actually miss that drive to this day because I don't have to do it anymore. Over you, Nadine, or to Stefan.
That's so cool, Trevor. So BS, I think, belief system in a lot of situations, this is bullshit because a lot of people believe not what is really, really helpful for them. So BS is in both situations, right? So Nadine, take it over.
That's so awesome, Trevor. I love that. That's gold. That's true gold. So I have 3 words. I'm going to follow your suit. I have 3 words for everybody here too. And I'm going to say, keep moving forward. No matter what you're doing, keep moving forward. Don't stop. At the moment you stop, it allows you to get pulled backwards. Don't focus on the past. Don't focus too far ahead. Just focus on the present moment today, what you need to do to move forward. And secondly, do not compete with anybody else but yourself. You want to better yourself, become a better version of yourself than you were yesterday. And if you can do that, you are set. And this is the only thing, if you don't remember anything else I said, remember this today. The only person you ever need to compete with is yourself. Let go of competition, bring in collaboration, work together, because when we are together, we are much stronger than we are apart.
To piggyback
That's so
that,
cool.
it's about
really,
collaboration.
Really awesome.
We're in a collaborating economy now. It's not just competing with your neighbor. You're the other person that has a job for you. It's how can you work together? That's the future of work.
Yeah, and I have one question everybody can ask themselves, and it's something somebody said to me quite a few years ago, and it really stuck with me. And it's focusing on and asking yourself the one thing in this moment that you feel like you're doing wrong. And again, no good or bad, no judgment. Just what is the one thing you're doing wrong? And what is one thing that you can do to improve upon that one thing moving forward? This alone also will change your life. There is something about that. You just ask the question and sit in silence, even just for 30 seconds, and the answer will come. You will know the one thing that's blocking you or limiting you from becoming that best version of yourself that you can be.
That's awesome. That's really, really awesome. So to wrap this up, Nadine and Trevor, thank you so much. I already took a lot of notes. Probably you saw me writing down a lot of things, and this was powerful. This was super powerful. So I really, really appreciate all the insights you just gave us. I really appreciate the time. So thanks again, and give Nadine and Trevor a huge virtual or real applause in the video or also virtually. Thanks so much to both of you.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to put my email in here just in case anybody wanted to ask more questions. And then Stefan, I think you're doing a phenomenal job, brother. Just huge props.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
This is amazing. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Definitely reach out to both of them. Definitely reach out to Nadine and to Trevor. I connected with them on LinkedIn. I mean, guess what? I've never met them in person. I would love to meet them in the future, but until now, I've never met them in person. But you can connect with incredible people on social media. So just reach out to them, connect with them, LinkedIn, or also the email address. You have it in the chat, and just send them a message. So before we go into the next session, let me tell you one more time that we really appreciate you, that you showed up, because nearly 300 people registered for this event to get the live stream or to also get the recording. And not everybody showed up, but we know that it is like this. When about 300 people register, about a third of them really show up. And we have pretty much this around the time, because people are jumping in, people are jumping out in the room number 1, room number 2. So about these 100 people showed up. So congratulations to be one of them who actually showed up. And you heard it from Nadine, you heard it from Trevor. Take action, be proactive, take action. And that's the reason why you should take action and use the free CHC check. And you have the link in the chat. So the link is in the chat. Use the free CHC check, and we are going to help you to have a successful future of work in your company, with your leaders, with your employees, with your team members. So let's go to the next, and the next session will be an interactive workshop with Katharina, and we will see us in 30 minutes from now in the main room. So see you soon, and in a couple of seconds, it's going into the next session. Thanks so much.
So hello and welcome everybody back. I am very pleased to introduce myself to you now, which is a little bit a strange situation, but however, my name is Katharina Schnitzler. I am office manager at CHC. I am a management and business consultant for project and process management, as well as for organizational development. And I'm very happy that you're joining me today for an interactive workshop on the topic employee engagement for KPI-driven companies. So before we start, I will just quickly share my presentation with you. If you would be so kind to just give me one more second. So can you see the presentation? Yes, perfect.
Yes.
Thank you, perfect. So let's start ahead. So, okay, this is an interactive workshop. So I really, really invite you to interactively participate, and I will kick off this workshop with a question for you. Who of you works with defined KPIs for your company business? So please be so kind to raise your hand that I have an idea. Who already has a certain set of fixed KPIs? Okay. Yes, more or less. Not so sure. Okay. And who of those who already work with KPIs, who works with quantitative KPIs? Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe raise your hand again. And how about qualitative? Okay, thank you. How about qualitative KPIs? Who works with qualitative KPIs? Okay. So, okay, I recognize some of you already work with KPIs, others not, some with quantitative, some with qualitative. What we actually very often see nowadays is that companies tend to have a certain set of quantitative KPIs and do not really think about qualitative KPIs, whereas those ones are the ones that really make a difference, that can really bring your company forward, that can really make a push. Therefore, today, I would like to talk to you about possibilities on how to find the appropriate starting point for your qualitative KPI development, on how to define the right qualitative KPIs, not only for now, but on a long-term base? How do you develop a simple and effective monitoring system in order to keep track of the progress? And how to make sure to bring your employees on board, and even more, how to make sure that they really stand behind the KPIs. So I will start with step number 1, which is a projective exercise based on gamification. So first of all, join your team or your management team or the ones you really need to involve in this exercise. You can join them either in the office, in home office, or hybrid. And then start with a projective exercise. Okay, people, please take a look outside the window and imagine a spaceship lands outside of this room. So you get into the spaceship and you travel to, nice picture, right? Planet, enter your company name. So now please, in your case, please, for yourself, put your company name here. And then you ask your team to group up in like small groups of 2 or 3 people or 4 people, and ask them to write down, to make a drawing if they're very creative, to find photos by Google. So there are no limits on creativity, how this planet currently looks like. So you can ask questions: what kind of vegetation is there? What kind of housing is there? What kind of infrastructure? What kind of people do you see? Are there people? How are they? What do they do? Okay. And now it's your turn. I may invite you to join me on this trip, and imagine now we look outside the window and the spaceship lands outside of this building. You get into the spaceship and you travel to, and then planet, enter your company name. Please, for yourself, grab a piece of paper, write down or make a drawing how this planet currently looks like. What kind of vegetation does it have? What kind of housing is there? What kind of infrastructure is there? And what kind of people do you see there? How are they? What are they doing? So we don't have 10 minutes now, but I can give you 2 minutes, and I kindly ask you to join in this creative projective exercise, and to share afterwards your ideas. So maybe you have a piece of paper with you, or you can take some notes somewhere. Or maybe you probably if you're outside, you can all make some thoughts of how you would imagine a planet of your company, how your company looks like. So is the task clear to everybody? Or are there any questions?
Is it a bit like to imagine your perfect world where you want to be, or how it is right now?
Yes, it's not necessarily the perfect world, but the world how it currently is. Okay, so it doesn't need to be an ideal imagination. It should be like how it is really today. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, now I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yes, of course, you're welcome. So if somebody already has something written down, or maybe drew already something or thought about something, then please feel free to unmute yourself and to share with the others.
So if nobody wants, I'll try.
Yes,
I don't have anything to write because I'm in the middle of the progress.
No problem.
But I guess maybe I can color it with words. So my planet right now with Anton together, how I imagine it is, we have about 3 continents on it. Every continent stands for a project we have. And these continents all have different colors. So one continent is yellow, the other is yellow with turquoise or turquoise, I don't know how it's called, and the other continent is violet. And the people walking or living there are very kind, are already also in love, how Trevor said it before. Everybody wants to give, wants to share, wants to grow. And at the moment, there's different buildings on those continents. On the yellow one, there are more like luxurious buildings, and they're still building up. Like there's construction site. Also on the yellow and turquoise continent. But this is more technical, everything a bit more industrial, but also connective. And yeah, the violet continent is more, let me say, more girly like. Yeah.
Okay.
So is it how?
Yes.
Can you imagine? And is it on point for this task?
Perfect. It's unbelievable how you manage to describe it in words without a drawing or without pictures. But I get a very clear picture, and thank you very much for sharing this. It's very brave, of course, I know, and thank you so much.
You're welcome. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to share his idea about the current planet of your company? Mario, are you talking to us?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
Sorry.
Please. Sorry, I just recognized your lips are moving.
I might try it. I'm not a very good drawer, so I didn't paint anything, but I'll try to explain it. Right now, when I look at our planet, it's a globe, and there's a blanket over this globe, so you can't see the globe, and a lot of people are standing around the globe, also with the heads on the globe, working on this globe. So because as we just try to get in a future where all our employees decide as a community how our company would look like in the future, and where it would go, and we are just the people who are responsible for the culture. I don't know what happens, and I don't know how the planet will look like. So I will be surprised, and hopefully in a positive way. But I can't tell you how it looks like. They started to create it. They started to create the future, and I don't know how it would look like. So it's very interesting what's going on.
Okay, so Mario, thank you for sharing this with us, and this is a perfect entering point for me for the next parts of this imaginative exercise. Okay, now step number 2. We continue with another gamification exercise. So you ask your team, so already, like Carl or Mario, they explain to you then in a way how they see the planet. Then you ask them, okay, people, now please imagine the spaceship lands outside of this building again. You get into the spaceship and you travel to, this is another planet, right? The planet, and then enter your company name in 5 years. And 5 years, now we're talking about an ideal imagination, okay? So again, group your team, ask them to write down, to draw, to find photos or so on. How the planet looks like in 5 years from now on, and what kind of vegetation is there, what kind of houses, what kind of infrastructure, and so on. And what kind of people do you see there? How are they? What do they do? Give them again like a time frame of 10 minutes for to discuss and to present the results. And probably you already have an idea what I will ask you now to do. It's your turn again. Imagine we get into a spaceship landing outside of this building, and we travel to the planet, enter your company name, in 5 years from now. So for now, please write down, or you don't need to write down, okay, guys? So encourage else you can simply think about it. And how the planet looks like, what kind of vegetation is there, what kind of housing, what kind of infrastructure, what kind of people do you see there, how are they and what do they do? And in our case, again, we're a little bit limited with time, so I give you 2 minutes, and again, I would ask you to share what your imagination. So is the task clear to everybody? Yes, okay. And whoever has already something in mind, then feel free. Yes, please, Carl, feel free to share.
Yeah, that's a thing I've done first already. I had to imagine it how it was, how it is right now, but how it will look like. It's easier, I guess, for me.
Okay.
So in the future, okay, we still have these 3 continents: this yellow, this turquoise, and the violet one. And all of those continents have more population. So there are more employees and workers, and also more and more pleased customers. And they are all living in these buildings. These buildings, which were on construction site at the reality moment right now, will be finished, will be look great. Will do look great, and all those continents are basically, the yellow one is kind of glowing, has a glowing light, shows fulfillment and holiness. Also the turquoise continent starts more to glow because more connection is coming up, and also there are many people, and yeah, they're working together, they're doing business and growing and evolving. And also the violet people, they are more healthier people, and more healthier women, pleased women, and yeah, they are happy to have more kids and stuff like that. And yeah, so this all and the whole planet is kind of growing and evolving and glowing. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much, Carl. Maybe Mario, do you also, since you already said before something, do you also want to say something now?
I can tell what my imagine might look like, but as I said, it's not my decision for our company. But if it would be just my decision, or what I hope it would end like, is a planet where there's just one continent, because we are one community, and we are standing together, and we love to be in that community, and every decision that you make is for the community, not just for yourself. And this whole community is with all the families, with the children, etc. Because we as a company have to support also your private life. We have to give you that you are also happy in your private life, if it is time, or if it is the amount of money that you need, or if it is the support with your children, etc. is what you need. So it's one continent with whole families supporting each other and being one community.
Okay, thank you very much, Mario.
That's awesome, by the way. Yeah, it's a great idea, by the way. Thank you for that. To connect all of those.
Hopefully it comes true.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's quickly continue with step number 3. In the next step, I would recommend you to do a gap analysis. So let the team compare the 2 pictures and ask them, in which way do the pictures differ regarding vegetation, housing, infrastructure, people? What remains the same? So what also is there now and 5 years from now? And what exactly changes? So first of all, ask them in general terms. And then secondly, Ask them for single elements of the picture. For example, why has this appeared? Why has this disappeared? Why has this changed? Why is there a dog? So like, for example, Carl, you mentioned that the people on the violet planets, they are healthier. So, okay, this is an element which has changed, right? Or Mario, you mentioned that there are kids, suddenly there are kids and families. So somehow try to figure out what remains the same. So what is good and is still good in the future, and what is different, okay? And then if you figured out those details, try to do a transition to your company, to your business. So in which way does your company or your business need to change in order to become the ideal picture in 5 years? What exactly needs to change and which way? And again, let the team work on a little bit on this topic. Let them think, okay, for example, like Carl, you said, okay, people are more healthy. So maybe we have to do something to support corporate health management, or whatever. Maybe we have to help them with, I don't know, the nutrition or whatsoever. Or Mario, you said, yes, you see families. So how can, so that means try to really transform this. How can we integrate the family life into the work life? Okay. And then ask the team to list the mentions. And now those are your KPIs, particularly your qualitative KPIs, and define for each KPI a timing and a responsibility. So that means we have it's a very simple Excel spreadsheet, right? We have a KPI. So what needs to change in order to become the ideal of yourself? That you enter timing, until when do you want to finish each of the actions, and who is responsible. Okay. And since we are a little bit running out of time, I give you homework. Yes, I really give you homework. For yourself, compare your two pictures that you have in your head, or that you maybe draw, or that you may be writing down, and do the exercise. What needs to change in your company or for your business? And based on this, try to draft your KPIs. And finally, I would still like to talk about a monitoring system. And this is already the last slide. Okay, so don't worry. Because I think it's very important to keep track of the progress and to stay behind those topics. So first of all, try to define an appropriate format to monitor your KPIs. It could be like a monthly meeting or a weekly or quarterly meeting with the help of a dashboard. It's just an example, okay? Define who needs to participate in the monitoring meeting. For example, the management team, or specific people that you need to have there who are related to the KPIs, or who are responsible for the KPI implementation. Organize periodic monitoring meetings with the relevant staff. And now it's very important, please stay on the ball, because at the beginning, usually energy is high. People want to do something, they want to change, they want to bring themselves in, and they want to involve themselves. And this exercise, in fact, is a good method on how you can involve your employees in this whole process, instead of somehow top-down definitions. But you really need to stay on the ball, and you need to keep the energy level up, and you need to keep them going. And therefore I say, stay on the ball. And last but not least, continuously work on your KPI list. So this is not something which is fixed for now and forever. It's something which is vivid, which should be adapted to new situations, to new, for example, new clients that you gain, to new products that you launched. You can always, and you should always, adapt your timings, add new KPIs, reformulate them, add relevant stuffs, and so on. So, if you have no further questions, I thank you very much for your active participation and for sharing your vision with us. We would still have like 1 or 2 more minutes. Do you have any questions, or is there anything you would like to share with the group right now? No more questions? Everything clear?
Just want to say thank you, because now I know what KPIs are. I was like, okay, what's that? I always thought these are the measurements for actions you are doing. So if you say I'm setting up an Instagram account for clients, so I measure how much time does it cost me, how much time could the client use, and I thought that those were KPIs, but it's basically it's the, like Tony said, gap map power prep. So you get the gap and then you know what to do. So like creating a to-do list.
In fact, it's you are not so wrong, Carl, so don't be so strict with yourselves. Those can also be KPIs, and those are rather the ones that the quantitative ones that I was referring before. Those are the more obvious ones, and or like, for example, revenue, or I don't know. Yes, like very typical ones that everybody has and that everybody knows, right? But I just wanted to give an idea on how you could find new ways of thinking about your business and how you could advance your business with this exercise.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you too. So, in fact, if you have no further questions, or maybe is there another question upcoming in the meantime? No. Okay, then I would suggest that we leave it for now. If you would like to discuss anything else, or if you afterwards have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I'm very happy. And in general terms, if you need more information, or if you would like to have support on KPI development, our experts at CHC are, of course, very happy to help you with this. We also offer strategy and concept workshops, and very happy to support you with your company development. So then, since we are already at the end of the second block, there is no more session here now in this breakout room, and the next topic will be the surprise roundtable, rapid fire success tips. It will take place in the main room, and it will start in like 3 minutes. So I would suggest we grab another something to eat or something to drink, and we meet. Everybody meets. Let's meet up again in the main room. So thank you very much, and see you soon in the main room. Thanks.